Hello everyone and welcome back to Scary Stories channel. There are 3 disturbing horror stories. Listen carefully and enjoy with rain. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this video. Story 1. A few years ago I went to see a movie with my girlfriend. We went there one night and there was a decent amount of other people around, but not really too many. The theater was quiet for the most part. So I remember that we got to our seats and started watching the previews. After a couple of them, my girlfriend said that she was kind of hungry, being the gentleman that I am. I offered to go get some food and she could stay there. So I got up from the seats and left the theater to go back into the lobby. Now, there were a few other people standing around in the lobby and in line to get food. So I got to the back of the line and started waiting. Not long after I got them all, this one guy came up to me. He seemed to be about my same age, but I did not recognize him. The guy said my name though, which surprised me. He was acting or friendly like he knew me, and he said something like, remember me? I said no, I did it. And he said that he was good friends with Lucas, who is one of my old friends from high school. Now, I hadn't seen Lucas for at least a couple of years, but in high school, we were pretty good friends. We played football together, but went to different colleges, and we just didn't stay in touch for whatever reason. When this guy told me he knew Lucas, I then felt much better about the situation. He said that Lucas was there at the theater and then I should say hi to him quick. I wanted to say hi, so I told the guy sure, but I had to be fair because I was getting food for my girlfriend. The guy told me Lucas was just around the corner, so I followed him and we went to the end of the lobby into one of the hallways with theaters. This was the opposite hallway from where my movie was. It was the quieter side of the theater and had less rooms in it. We went down the hallway and then took a right. This led to a very quiet hallway with just one auditory, a minute, and then exit doors. At the end, there was really nobody over there at all, except I saw a small group of about 3 or 4 guys standing around. The strange thing is that they're all wearing ski masks. I thought it was really weird, and this guy that with leading me right for them. Now, even though the guys had ski masks on, I knew Lucas well enough to tell that he was not one of them. All the guys looked over at me directly, not the guy that was leading the way for me. I felt like I was being set up for something. When I made it with the 50 feet of the guys, I had a bad feeling and I stopped and turned around. I instantly started walking in the opposite direction. I heard the guy told me to come back, but I ignored him. I went back to the lobby where it was more crowded and then quickly got back in line for food. As I was waiting in line, I saw the same guy come from around the corner and look around. He spotted me but did not do anything. In fact, as soon as he saw me, he quickly disappeared back around the corner. I then got the food and headed back to the theater. I got back to my girlfriend just in time before the movie started. I tried to forget about the crazy experience that I had and just watch the moon, and soon I was able to. However, at one point, kind of towards the end of the movie, for whatever reason, I randomly looked around. I looked behind us and happy to notice the doors to the theater. Standing just inside of them, there were 2 guys wearing ski masks. Right after I started looking at them, they turned around and walked down. I was pretty creeped out to see them in the theater that I was in. I looked to the doorway a few more times during the film, but did not see them after the movie. I told my girlfriend about the crazy situation. When we left, I was very careful to look around. Thankfully, though, I did not see the guys, and we were able to leave after that. I've been back to that theater quite a few times since. I haven't seen any of those guys at all, as who contacted my friend Lucas until without what happened. Lucas said that he had no idea about it, but that he knew who the guy was who had been talking to me. I considered trying to talk to the guy something and ask what he was doing, but I decided not to, just move on. I'm not sure exactly what was going on with the masked men, but I'm glad that I walked away. Story 2. My name is Emily, and a couple of years ago, I used to live really close to a movie theater. My appointment was just a few blocks away, and sometimes I would go there. I've always liked movies, and I don't mind even going by myself. Normally I go with one of my friends, though, but sometimes I will just go by myself, and one night there was a movie in theaters and I wanted to see, so I decided to go alone. I left my apartment and walked the 10 minutes or so down the sidewalk to the theater. I went inside and it was not very busy at all. I walked to the movie that I was going to go to, and when inside there was also hardly anybody, but a few people were scattered around here and there. I got a seat sort of in the middle, but not really knew anybody else. I watched the movie. However, right after it ended, I felt a tap on my shoulder from out of nowhere. I looked behind me. Inside, this creepy-looking guy standing there. He just a creepy look to him. He also had a sloppy-looking beard, messy hair, and mismatching clothes. He also smelled badly of cigarettes after getting my attention. He said that I'd been watching the movie the whole time, but he had been watching me the whole time. I was disgusted when I heard it, and then he started laughing, a little. Then the guy slowly started walking away towards the door. I waited in the theater for a little while, and then I got up and left, hoping that the man was already gone and I would not see him ever again. Unfortunately though, right after I left the theater and got out into the hallway, I saw the man you just kind of standing around sort of in front of the Liberia. I did not want to walk past him and fear that he might follow me or try to talk to me again or something, so I turned and I went the other way. Because I had been to the theater many times, I knew there was another sit down another hallway that was rarely used, so I started heading that way. When I did though, out of the corner, I thought that I might have seen the man walking towards me. I didn't stop to make sure, and I just walked fast around the corner into the hallway with the exit. I walked down it and then left through the door, which led to the parking lot. With this was for farther down on the end of the parking lot. After making it outside, I went along the sidewalk until they connected with the one that went beside the street. From there, I went straight for a while and then would go a couple of blocks from my apartment. At first I thought that things were fine. However, when I'd been walking for about 5 minutes or so, I thought that I heard footsteps behind me. To that point, I hadn't bothered to look back. So after hearing the footsteps, I did. I saw the same man, and he was a good distance behind me. But in my mind, he was 100% following me. I tried walking faster and continued back to my apartment. He was a long ways back, like I said, so I didn't really feel that much in danger, but it was still very suspicious. After I turned the corner, I hoped that there was a slim chance that maybe the man was not following me. But a short time later, I looked back and he had also gone around the corner, so at that point, I wanted to run, but I tried playing it cool. I walked at a fast pace for the entire rest of the way back to my apartment building. When I'd made it to my building, I looked back one last time. The man was still there and still a pretty long ways behind me. I very quickly went to the entrance doors, used my key to get it, and then made sure that the door closed behind me. When I did not see the man and thought that maybe he had given up or watched someplace else. So at that point, I took the elevator up to my floor and then went inside of my apartment. However, just about 10 minutes after getting back, I heard a knock on my door. I went over and looked through the people to see who was there. It was the same guy. Somebody must have let him in the building or something. Nevertheless, I did not answer the door. I kept watching through the people, and the guy actually tried opening the door, which was locked. At that point, he sort of walked away, only to come back just a few seconds later. He kind of started pacing in the hallway for a little while, and It was really creeping me out at one point when he sort of moved away. I opened my door just to quack. I yelled loudly that if he didn't leave now, I was going to call the police then. I shut the door again and, locked in demand, walked back into view as I continued to look through my people. He just kind of stood there looking at my door for a few moments. I was ready to call the police if he tried anything. Then the man slowly turned and walked away this time. He didn't come back after that. I did not go back to that movie theater for a while. When I did go back again, though I didn't see the guy and I haven't seen him since, I'm really glad that nothing bad happened that night. Story 3. Years ago, for a short time, I worked at a movie theater near where I lived. I was a teenager, about 17 or 18 years old, and lived with my parents. One night I was working late. I worked in the concessions at the theater and would sell popcorn and candy and stuff to moviegoers. On this night in particular, when it got sort of late, things quieted down and some of my co-workers led. It was dangerous. Me and my co-worker Adam was a couple of years older than me and was working at the front selling the tickets on most nights. About 15 minutes after the last movie at the night starting, at him or whoever was working at the front would lock the doors. Then I would stick concessions until that movie was almost over. We would clean, and after the movie ended and everyone would leave, we would finish our cleaning and go home. So on this night in particular, I remember that the final movie of the night had started. When that happened, the lobby pretty much cleared out and I was by myself. Time later, about 15 or 20 minutes into the movie, I looked to the front, which was a little ways away in the lobby, but I could still see Adam was not by the doors were sold tickets, so I assumed that he had locked the doors already, and it moved on. He was most likely cleaning an auditorium that was empty. I had to stay at the concessions for a while longer though, as I stayed there a couple of minutes later, and I remember seeing the front doors to the theater open. A man walked in who immediately looked sketchy. He was wearing a brown jacket and winter hat, and the guy looked down at the floor as he entered. He was walking rather fast, and I realized that Adam must not have locked the doors. I was sort of annoyed about that, but there was nothing that I could do. The man walked right past the ticket counter and then started in my direction. However, he turned and blew past me as well, not even looking at me. It was like he was on a mission to get someplace. He was headed to the hallway with the movies in them. There was only one movie still showing, and I wasn't sure if this guy was going to try to get in and watch it for free or something. But I stayed wise for the next bit of time, and nobody came to get any snacks. So when the movie was almost over, I turned the lights off to make concessions counter and then finish cleaning it. After that, I went over to find Adam. He was in fact in one of the auditoriums clean. I told him how to guide and Adam realized that he forgot to lock the door. He then went back and locked it finally, and luckily nobody else had gone. When I went to the main hallway, I didn't see the guy, so I assumed that he had gotten into the movie that was playing for free. Adam and I went back to work after that until the movie was over a short time later. When that happened, everyone left the theater and made their way out. Within 10 to 15 minutes, everybody was gone, and Adam and I were the only ones. Day or so, we thought we went into the auditorium that the movie had been in, including when we left. We noticed something at the far other end of the hallway, a long ways away. The same man who I'd seen into the theater was standing there. He was facing us and just staring right in our direction. It just looked really strange because he wasn't doing anything. We started to walk a little closer to the guy, and I felt nervous about the whole situation. We'd never had anybody really, around that long after close before. I called out to the man saying that the theater was closed now and he would have to leave. He did not respond, though. He just kept standing there at him, and I moved away into the lobby and I told him how that was the guy. Who had what did when we were supposed to be close? I walked back into the hallway to see that the man was still standing there, in the same place. Then he started waving at me. It was not a friendly way though. Demand did not really have any expression on his face. It really creeped me out and I didn't know what to do. I went back into the lobby and told Adam that we needed to get this. Gallantly, we decided to go back into the hallway once again, where once again the men were still ending there in the same place. He waved at me again as well, Demand, and started walking towards us. We were both really creeped out and didn't know what he would do, but it seemed like maybe he will leave because he was walking in the direction of the lobby. So we went back into the lobby, but the man never entered. After a few minutes, I went back into the hallway. The man was finally gone. I didn't see him, Adam, and I think carefully searched the entire theater up and down. The man was not found. He must have left out another exit. We were just glad that he was gonna. We then finished up and left for the night. I didn't work there too much longer, and there remains the scariest thing that ever happened while I worked there.